Good morning, everyone. My name is Scott Lowe. I'm the acting dean of the Graduate College. It's so wonderful to see everybody today. I'm really sorry that we weren't able to do this in person, but as I can see from the participation, we've actually grown the number of participants bringing this online, which is a good thing. I know that I speak for all of the graduate faculty and the staff that we're very excited for this semester. We're excited to see you here, and we're excited to set you on your way for a fantastic semester. So our plan for this event is to give you an overview of all the resources that are available to you, and to introduce you to some of the faculty and staff that are involved with graduate education here at Boise State, and ultimately to give you a chance to ask questions. So as Adrienne noted, at the end, we're going to have a panel of current graduate students. A lot of you have submitted questions, so that's going to frame the conversation we have with those current students. But I also have some prompts that I'll get us started with. But you're going to see that this is a repeating theme that you're going to hear throughout today and throughout the time you're with us at Boise State. We're here to help you. And if you're ever unsure about something, if you ever have a question during your journey at Boise State, the staff and I are here to help. All you need to do is ask. So we are very fortunate today, most fortunate today, to have Boise State University's Provost, John Buckwalter, join us for this session. So please join me in giving a very warm welcome to Dr. Buckwalter. Dr. Buckwalter.
Thank you very much. I'm really excited to be here, especially with that hype music that got us going in this morning. That was pretty cool. So my name is John Buckwalter, and I have the pleasure of serving as the Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs here at Boise State. And I'm going to assume that there are a number of you that were like me when I was a graduate student and really don't have a clue what a provost does or is. And so maybe I'll just start there. The provost is the person that really oversees the academic side of the house at the university. So all the academic programs that you're part of are in departments and colleges, which all report up to the provost's office. My background is I went to graduate school, much like you did. I have a master's degree in kinesiology, a PhD in kinesiology. I earned those at the University of Arkansas. My research background is I was a physiologist. So I studied cardiovascular physiology, how the body controls blood flow at rest and during exercise to ensure that oxygen is delivered to working muscles during exercise. Welcome to Boise State. We are extremely excited that you are here. I will assure you that none of you are more clueless graduate students than I was when I started. There was so many things I didn't understand about the process, both as a master's student and as a PhD student. And so I would like to leave you, if you hear nothing else that I say today, please hear this. You belong here. You can do this. We would not have admitted you into our programs if we didn't think you could be successful. We believe in you. And as Scott started this, we're here to help. It's okay not to understand some of the things that are going on around you, but there are resources, there are people that are here to help you. We want to see you be successful. The one thing that I can assure you, though, that we do not have here at Boise State is mind readers. And so if you're struggling, or there's something that you really would like to know, you're also going to you're responsible for taking some of the initiative to making the concerns and questions that you have known. As Scott said, your mentors, the departments, the college, the graduate school are all here with numerous resources, many of which I assume that you're going to talk about today. And so take advantage of those. I'd like to have you think about a couple of things. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some items that you might consider as you start this journey through graduate school, things that I learned during the process and I've come to appreciate more with my career. First, I'd like you to think about really making an extra effort to get to know your fellow graduate students. These are professional connections that really will stay with you for the rest of your life. And also get to know some of the graduate students outside of your area. Really, some of the magic that happens in research and scholarship are when disciplines come together, and getting to know some of the people outside your specific area provides opportunities to collaborate. I will say that there are numerous university events that go on. Take advantage of those. If there's a lecture being provided by the department, go to those, even if they're not necessarily in your specific area. Take advantage of those things. If one of your fellow graduate students is given a lecture, go to those. As I said, you'll meet people during this journey that will be connections for the rest of your life. I'm relatively new to Boise State like you are. I've only been here 6 months, and I can tell you, I shared an office with a faculty member here at Boise State as a graduate student. So it was really neat to be able to reconnect with her when I came as a student here. It's a small world. The other thing I would encourage you to do is to get involved with your professional organizations. Many of them will have discounted rates for graduate students. Some of them will offer memberships for free. Take advantage of those opportunities. They also have resources, and they also provide opportunities to develop connections. This next item I'd like you to consider may sound a little bit strange, but I would encourage you to start making plans right now for graduation. You may be at the beginning of your career, but that's going to come a lot faster than what you think. And you need to start thinking about what the next steps in your careers are going to be. If you have a interest in moving into the private sector, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine. But I would also encourage you to explore opportunities in the public sector in academia. And the reverse is also true. If you've always wanted to be a university professor or work in academia, there are a lot of cool opportunities in the private sector. You may not even have considered. Explore those opportunities. There are people with the degrees that you're earning that are working in jobs that you don't even know exist right now. So really take that. It's okay not to have to change on the fly when you see unique opportunities. When I graduated, I went and did a postdoctoral fellowship at the Medical College of Wisconsin with the idea that I was going to spend 2 years up there doing certain projects, and 2 years turned into 12. And so it's okay for not to have everything set in stone and to make adjustments, but you should start developing a plan right now. And I would say be open to unique opportunities. Say yes if you get invited to work on a project that may not be necessarily what you thought you were going to be doing, or if you get invited to serve in some capacity in the department, maybe a committee. Think about those opportunities. If there's something that you see around the department that you think could be improved, talk to people about that. It's not going to be easy all the time, so just know that going into it, but don't give up. As I said in the beginning, you belong here, you can do it. I think what you have to realize, especially when you start talking about doing a thesis or a dissertation, that in essence, you're doing something that nobody's ever done before. That's really the definition of scholarship and research, creating something new. And that's not easy. It'll be hard at times, but you can do it. And then lastly, I'd like you to think about something that as graduate students, sometimes you get really focused in on what you're doing at work and your career trajectory. I would encourage you to also think about enjoying life outside the university too. That's an important part of this journey. Boise is a fabulous community. There are a lot of things that you can take advantage of here in Idaho that you don't find in other places. Take a hike in the foothills over here. Go to when they have events at the parks, or Hamilton presentation that you have access to. Take advantage of those things. Those are really unique opportunities. So I'll end here with just this idea that I'd like to congratulate you on your admission to graduate school and taking this journey. Many of you are probably like me, were the first in your family to pursue a graduate degree. That's a big deal, and you shouldn't underestimate that. If you're like me, a lot of your family members really don't understand what you're doing, and that's okay. Be patient with them. You're an ambassador not only from the university to your family and the general public. Figure out ways that you can talk about what you're doing as a graduate student at a high school level, so you can help people understand what you're doing. That is really, really important. And be patient with your family. I don't know what the most recent statistics are, but in my mind, something jumps out somewhere in the 10 to 15% range are the number of people in the US that have graduate degrees. And when you start talking about PhDs, I think that number gets really pretty small, less than 5%. And so you're in a unique situation right now. And by pursuing a graduate degree, you're changing what you're going to be able to do in your life. But you're not only changing your life, you're changing the lives of your family members and your communities. And for that, I'd like to commend you and really wish you good luck as you take on this journey. So welcome to Boise State University. Again, we're excited you're here. And there are people that want to see you be successful.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Buckwalter. So we'll carry on here. One of the things that you may not have realized, Boise State is a massive undergraduate institution, the largest in the state, but we're also the largest graduate college in the state of Idaho. So currently we have 13 doctoral programs, 73 master's programs, and we offer 55 certificates. So your peers at the graduate level here at Boise State, it's a massive unit of people. Last spring, in the middle of this pandemic, we enrolled 3,600 graduate students, and we graduated a record number. We graduated 565 master students and 30 doctoral students, which is more than we've ever done before. The role of my role and the role of the graduate college here at Boise State is centralized, and it's different than what you may have heard about at other institutions or may have encountered when you were an undergraduate, or if you're a doctoral student that's moving from a master's program. We're a central graduate college. So many are decentralized, where each program manages their own application process, they do their own degree processing. But here at Boise State, the graduate college manages largely from beginning to end a student's career at Boise State. So what does this mean? So we were here when you applied, when you were recruited, for many of you, all the way through to graduation. When you applied, we were the first ones to accept and to process your application. We managed that with transcripts, your letters of reference, calculated your GPA, et cetera. As you move through your program, as you take classes at Boise State, everything that you do is going to be accounted for and tracked to make sure that what you're doing aligns with what's required for the degree. We're here along that journey from, again, you've applied, you're here to help you to succeed. So we provide services and supports. A lot of what you're going to hear about after me today, and I'll be back again multiple times, but many of you will take advantage of these, and they're going to be incredibly helpful along the way. We're here to help you to succeed. When you're ready to graduate, the graduate college revisits again, whether it's a thesis or a dissertation, a project, a practicum, portfolio, whatever that culminating activity is at the end of your degree, the Graduate Student Success Center and the Graduate College are here to help you in that way. You're going to hear from a number of graduate students a little bit later on today. They're going to provide a lot of advice about how to navigate and succeed at Boise State. At least I hope they're going to. But I'm often asked if I had to give one piece of advice that I can provide, what is it? And it's really that we, the faculty, the staff, the graduate college writ large, are here to help you to succeed. Before I put on my associate or acting dean hat in the graduate college, I was a faculty member for 11 years. I advised students, I mentored students, I directed programs, I led labs. Please let me assure you that we are all here to help you. We wouldn't be here if we didn't love teaching and working with students and helping you to achieve your dreams. So again, if you have a question, please don't hesitate to ask. We all ask questions on our journey to get to where we are. And if you aren't sure about something, you aren't sure what the next step is, there are really no bad questions. If you want to know what the next deadline is or what you need to do next, simply ask. Nothing can be more stressful than to be confused or uncertain about your degree or certificate or what you need to do. You've invested and you've dedicated a lot of time, and we're invested and dedicated to your success. So please don't remain confused or uncertain. Reach out to the graduate college, to your program coordinator, to your mentor or your major advisor, to staff across campus. There are thousands of us that are here to help you. On all the resources that you're going to see today, There are phone numbers, email addresses, web links, etc. Ways to communicate with us. But again, if at any time you aren't sure, you can always reach out to the Graduate College. If you never sit on a question, okay? We never want you to be frustrated or not sure. We want you to always be comfortable and confident. We want you to focus on your scholarship. We don't want you to have to worry about everything else. You can let us help you with everything else. So without further ado, it is my great pleasure to welcome Dr. Ed Whipple, who's our Vice President of Student Affairs. Dr. Whipple, welcome to the Graduate College.
Let me get unmuted here. Welcome. Thanks a lot, Scott. In fact, I thought I was looking, my office looks right out on Scott's back, but I don't think you're sitting out in front of the B today, are you, Scott? I wish it was sunny weather, my gosh. Welcome, and I really will reiterate exactly what the Provost said and our Dean of the Graduate College said in terms of support and welcoming you, and just excited you're here. I do wish the weather was better, but just remember every day is getting longer, and I think every day is getting closer to spring. My role as the Vice President for Student Affairs and Enrollment Management is just not focused on undergraduate students, but also graduate students. The enrollment management piece is primarily undergraduate. That includes our undergraduate admissions, the registrar's office, but the financial aid office too. I'm going to just put in the chat room here a web link, and if you have nothing else to do this weekend, you can go through it and look at some of the programs and services in the Student Affairs and Enrollment Management area. Our primary mission, of course, is to support students outside the classroom. And as a graduate student, that outside the classroom time, I think, is very important. Just a couple highlights in regard to maybe some services that as a graduate student, you want to make sure you take advantage of at some point. I know you'll hear something regarding our health services, but I have to reiterate, if health services hasn't come on yet, our testing clinic for COVID and our vaccination clinic for both COVID and you can get COVID shots and flu shots. And it's right here on campus, and you're covered by it. I don't think, did that go through? I thought I clicked everyone, but hang on. There it goes. I'm sorry, I didn't hit send. Also, as a graduate student, I really encourage you to take care of our great rec center, fabulous swimming pool, exercise equipment, fitness programs, and so forth. Right next to the rec center is our bike learning center, which is, you don't find on a lot of campuses such an extensive bike rental, bike repair operation. And once the weather gets a little better, it's a great way to relieve stress. We have a full service dining operation. You're more than welcome to eat in our dining halls, both in the Student Union and over at Sawtooth, which is right across from the Student Union and kitty corner to the parking garage. Dr. Buckwalter, our provost, mentioned get engaged in professional organizations and so forth. And there's also a number of student organizations that are geared specifically to graduate students, and you can find information about that through your academic departments and also on the website in regard to the student organization piece. And again, I'll go back to financial aid if you need help in terms of your own financial aid package, resources, etc. Just need some help sorting through finances, the counseling piece of financial aid, the super people in there that will work with you. What I just want to do, and I don't want to talk too long, and I'm sorry we can't meet in person, but it's probably best we don't at this time. And I went through with the fall entering graduate students just to talk about some things that I sure wish I knew when I started graduate school. And I went right from undergrad to start my master's in English literature. And I went from a small private school in Oregon to Chicago and Northwestern University. And it was just, I mean, I was overwhelmed, to be quite frank, and there was absolutely no graduate student orientation, and we received information on paper. There were no computers at the time either. So it was, for me, it was a big adjustment. But there's things I wish I would have known before. And let me just run through a couple of these. The first one is that graduate school is not what I call undergraduate 2.0. I had a tough time we were on quarters. I had that tough time that first quarter adjusting to this is not undergraduate. And I was scared to death to be in a small class with other graduate students from other schools. I just thought I was out of my element and so forth. And I wish somebody would have sat down and sort of walked me through that emotional, personal adjustment to graduate school. Second, and I didn't have too much of a problem with this, but I could have done better, is keep up with the reading. In the undergraduate program, sometimes it's a little easier to skimp on the reading, to move through it too quickly, to not read critically, to not analyze, to not think, etc. And I wish I would have focused a little more on, number one, my reading skills from a critical standpoint, and then making sure I kept up with everything. Because in graduate school, invariably, if you get behind, it is very difficult to catch up. Third, I wish I would have developed a better organizational system. And this probably goes back to time management too. But I wish I would have had an organizational system that worked for me, that could accommodate not only my academic life, but my personal life. As an English master's student, something that I did not do well at all, and by the time I got to my PhD, I was much better with it. But this, I think, runs the gamut with just about every discipline, is keeping up with citations and bibliography. And again, I did not have, I would say, good training in that. And I sort of had to learn and on my own, and then with the help of some of my fellow graduate students. And I think that's very important. Probably one of the most important points, and I didn't do this either, I think I'm going through all the things I didn't do, is connect with your professors early. I was, to be quite frank, intimidated by my professors, and our professors at Boise State they're teaching professors. They want to help you. Nobody has been accepted to any graduate program at the university with the expectation that they're not going to succeed. Everybody has been accepted into a program because we know they can succeed. So the professors want that personal connection. And so please get to know your professors as soon as you can. On the flip side of that, connect with other students in your graduate program, because that graduate student cohort is a tremendous support system. And it's a little different coming in at the start of the spring semester, because there's a group that's already been formed, but that doesn't mean you can't be part of that group. And so think of some strategies and work with your faculty members to how do you make sure you can insert yourself into that cohort for support. Another suggestion is be visible, and that means be around the department, just sort of hang out, if that makes sense. A couple reasons. Number one, you get to know people. Second, again, that strengthens that faculty relationship. And third, you're probably going to pick up information you otherwise might not have picked up. Another suggestion, and again, I'll really goes back to my apprehension as a grad student, my first quarter. Recognize that the imposter syndrome is real, and the imposter syndrome is where one believes that he or she is just really not capable. And I really thought when I started my grad program that I was out of my element. I thought, oh God, I'm not gonna graduate. I'm gonna fail, etc. And that is not true. And I think this is where, again, it's a real feeling, but it's something that can be overcome through support from your faculty and from some of your fellow graduate students. And I think it's also important in just the context of being a grad student is practice self-care. And I mean, it's real basic stuff. It's like eating well, sleeping well, exercising. It's a lot easier said than done, but realize that it's really important to take care of yourself. And especially in this environment that we're in right now, being careful and again, making sure that that you're doing those things that will keep you healthy physically, emotionally, mentally, cognitively, and so on. And then last, and I think this has already been said and would be reiterated by others, is don't be afraid to ask for help. That's why we're here. And I think any problem that you may have, many of us have heard before. It may be a different face or in a little slightly different context, but do not be afraid to ask for help. And we want to support you and we want you to be successful. And I think, as the provost said, you got to start thinking about graduation already, and it will be here sooner than you think. So that's really all I have. If you've got any questions, the student affairs office is right next to the provost's office, and we're on the second floor of the ad building, and that's that building that is just behind Dr. Lowe with the B, and I look right out on the B. So we're right on the second floor, and we'd be delighted to help you in any way we can. So thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Dr. Whipple. I appreciate it. I didn't mention it, but believe it or not, the graduate college is on the other side of the admin building across the quad. There's a huge Bronco in front of the Riverfront Hall. Graduate college is on the third floor of Riverfront Hall. So I probably should have mentioned that early on. At this point, I'd like to introduce Wayne Cochran. Wayne is the coordinator for our Graduate Student Success Center. And he's here to talk to you a little bit about the services and opportunities that they provide. Wayne, welcome.
Thanks, Dr. Lowe. I appreciate it. Great introduction there. So I get the beauty of talking to you about some of the tangible programs that we have here in the Graduate College to help you succeed while you're here at Boise State. That goes along the lines of what Dr. Whipple and Dr. Buckwalter have talked about, and what Dr. Lowe had reiterated earlier on, is that we're here to help you succeed. And the unique thing we have about our programs is that we realize that each student has a different point of access to success. It's different from as different students go through different levels of programs are needed. You'll see here we're a relatively small staff of 4. I have the coordinator here. I have a wonderful assistant. You'll see there on the bottom, Lindsay, that keeps us all in line and helps us to coordinate. I have 2 wonderful writing coaches, which I'll talk to you about their program here in just a second, to help students go along. But then the next question is what do we do to help you succeed? So what I'd like to do today then is run you through 4 or 5 of the programs that we have built here at Boise State in the Graduate College to help students succeed. The first program I'll talk about is called Bronco Finish Line. This is our writing assistance program. As I saw on that first slide there, I have 2 writing coaches who are also fellow graduate students. One is in the doctoral program in education, and the other is finishing up her master's degree in technical communication. So they're both very well versed in writing challenges. They're really good at helping students to organize their thoughts, to get started with writing. And we can help with any writing assignment as small as a classroom assignment for those of you obviously just starting out in your career. And then as you move through your time here at Boise State and the projects get bigger and we look toward graduation and you're looking at maybe a thesis or a dissertation or a larger culminating activity, we can help you with all of those challenges from start to finish. We can do that in person with coaching. We can do that through email with feedback. We can kind of tie our system to however you need to access writing help while you're here. And we encourage you to do that because, as Dr. Buckwalter noted too, this is a step up to the next level of graduate level writing as you go through there. And we can help you to make that transition from the undergrad program or wherever you have come from to get into that swing of thing with graduate writing. Beyond that, we also have a couple other programs that work to build skills here at Boise State. The next one we'll talk about is called Grad Skills. This is our program where we have 4 or 5 times a year, we'll bring in partners from outside the graduate college to put on workshops about skills that are relevant to graduate college students who are here. We partner with career services. We'll put on workshops on how to put together quality presentations and defenses. We'll usually try to hit a couple that are relevant to writing challenges we've come up with in that particular semester, how to put together references, things like that. Hopefully also this week, you guys have had a chance to attend our grad prep sessions. We do this in leading up to the orientation in the fall and in the spring. These sessions are designed to help you get introduced to Boise State. It's a longer kind of overview of what we do here, what I'm doing today. We'll talk about what is graduate writing. We'll introduce you to how to access the library. We'll have a lot of different sessions on how to acclimate yourself to Boise State. If you haven't had a chance to attend those sessions this week, you can visit our website. We did record all of our sessions. So feel free to go back in these first few weeks if you wanted to take a look at those or take a listen to those. And then obviously we're available for any questions after that as well. The last thing I'll talk about as far as our grad programs is our grad write. As you get into your programs here at Boise State, several times a year, we'll offer the opportunity for students to gather and write as a collective, whether that's over a week-long session, like we have planned for spring break this year, or in a more targeted session within a cohort, like on a Saturday during the semester. This session is designed for kind of peer-to-peer activity, and also just to be able to have you access our site and get help you might need. And just to get over the hump and get started on writing. I know sometimes that's the biggest issue in starting is starting to write. For those of you, as you talk about getting ready to talk about graduation, for those of you who are going to do a thesis or dissertation, my office is the office you'll go through to finish that activity. We'll take you through from the point where you're ready to defend through that process, and then your document will come through my office at the end when you are ready to graduate. So while that may seem far off in the future, again, as is reiterated today, it's not as far as you think it is. And that you'll know when it comes time for that, which office to start that process with. And the last thing I'll talk about is our 3-minute thesis competition, which is one of our 2 major competitions that we talk about in the graduate college. Basically, the gist of 3-minute thesis is you get 3 minutes and 1 slide to describe your research here at Boise State. And we put on this contest. One, it's a fantastic way for students to put their names out there into the community and also to earn cash prizes and recognition. And it's a fabulous experience. But ultimately, also what it is a chance to build communication skills. So you to take all of that really complex research that you're doing here in whatever program you happen to be in, and being able to distill that and disseminate that to a lay audience in a short time window, which is a skill I think you'll find invariably you will use with whatever comes after graduate school, whether that's another graduate program or a job. You're going to have to at some point describe what you do in a very condensed manner. So we've built a program to not only help you compete and have fun, but also to build the skills to be able to do that on the fly as well. Hopefully, you'll see we do a lot of different things here in the Graduate Student Success Center. Whatever program fits your time frame or where you're at, feel free to contact us. I saw that they put our email address in the chat window. It's just success@boisestate.edu. Shoot us an email, send us a question. Know that we're here to help you succeed from right now, from day one, up until the time you graduate. We're here for you with whatever program fits your definition of success for right now. I'm excited to get to learn or get to know some of you as you go through here. I'd encourage all of you to reach out and use the Graduate Student Success Center, and good luck this semester at Boise State.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Wayne. One of the things that it's occurred to me with our speakers thus far, we talk about a lot of face-to-face opportunities, but believe it or not, over 40% of our graduate students at Boise State are in fully online programs. So a lot of these resources that Wayne just talked about, a lot of the resources that I'm going to talk about for the rest of the day today, or the rest of our meeting, are available to our fully online students. We're unique at Boise State in a graduate college of our size. To have 40% online is really, really unique. And what that means is that everything we do, anytime we plan something, anytime I have a meeting to offer services, I've got the voice in the back of my head. How is this going to be available to our online students? What are we doing for online students to offer these same sort of resources? So for those of you who are joining us today from fully online programs, know that we have your best interest at heart, and we're considering your well-being in everything that we do, and making sure that everything that we can provide in an online format or make available asynchronously is available to you. So I'm going to touch on two things really quickly. There are a few of the services and opportunities have fallen to me to discuss. Two that I want to talk about, and there are a lot, but two that I want to focus on. The first is a program that we call GradWell, Be Well to Do Well. So this is a program for all graduate students, and it provides wellness writ large, mental wellness, facilitating access to mental health resources, fostering student connections. There are a number of services that are offered: telehealth appointments, individual group counseling opportunities, anything that has to do with your wellness. This is a partnership with the Student Health Center and the Graduate College. We have graduate assistants that are and staff members that are there to help in this regard. You see the email there for GradWell at the bottom of the slide. I encourage you to take advantage. You're going to over your time at Boise State, you're going to receive a number of email or text related reminders. So I encourage you to continue to check your email regularly. It's one of the main ways that we communicate things to you. And whether you have that email forwarded to an email account that you're more likely to use, or you check in regularly, I encourage you to continue to do so. The second thing I want to talk about right now is the Graduate Student Showcase. So every spring, we take a day, normally when we're in a face-to-face mode, or now that we've somewhat pivoted to a fully online, we take a day or a few days to support graduate student scholarship on campus. This showcase is our signature event, and it really showcases the fantastic scholarship that our graduate students are producing. So we hold the showcase normally face-to-face in the Student Union building, but we're holding it remotely this spring. All our graduate students are encouraged to participate. So as I noted, continue to check your email, where you're going to get reminders of these sorts of opportunities and services that we provide throughout the semester. One thing that we have definitive evidence of is that mentoring is a very important element of graduate education. So students who are mentored tend to be more productive, more involved in their departments, and they're more satisfied with their education and their program. So I'd like you to join me now in welcoming one of our Associate Deans in Residence, Dr. Mariana DeGraaf, who's going to talk a little bit more about the importance of mentoring. Mariana, welcome.
Thank you, Scott. Hi, everybody. Today, I'm going to talk briefly about the importance of and opportunities for the development of professional skills in graduate school, and this includes mentoring. As a graduate student, you learn many disciplinary skills, and those will help you hone your career in your field of expertise. And in addition to these skills, you will learn a number of professional skills that will help you become a well-rounded professional who's equipped with the tools to be competitive for a wide variety of careers. On this slide, you see the professional proficiency areas or core competencies that graduate students come away with after grad school. These include some of the things that Wayne and Scott already mentioned, such as personal development and well-being, communication, teaching and mentoring, research, data analysis and grants writing, leadership and collaboration, and career development and management. Often these skills are acquired unintentionally and are underappreciated by graduate students themselves when they enter the workforce. Using this framework of core competencies helps you acquire the skills in an intentional way by using some of the graduate college workshops and activities that they have to offer, and it will help you apply for a wide variety of jobs after graduation. The Graduate College is in the process of launching a website called GradPro Idaho that highlights these competencies, and it functions as a guide to help you navigate resources, activities, and workshops through the Graduate College that enable professional development. So stay tuned for that. I hope to roll that out this semester. So then for the next slide, I would like to highlight one particular professional development opportunity that is inherently offered to you by the mentoring landscape in which you are uniquely positioned as a graduate student. You will have a mentor and be a mentee, and at the same time, it is very likely that you will serve as a mentor yourself for undergraduates or to your peers as you get further into your program. This means that you will have to manage up as a supervisee, down as a supervisor, or across as a peer. And these are skills that are used by the vast majority of professionals who work in environments where they navigate being a supervisor and a supervisee, managing up and down, while also using your disciplinary expertise to have an impact on their work. At the Graduate College, we have developed workshops and materials that help you acquire the skills of navigating this middle zone of being both a mentor and a mentee. So when we go to the next slide, we have created mentoring workshops where we talk about the role of your mentor as a teacher, a host, and a sponsor to guide you through your academic and professional career path. We will provide guidance on how to engage proactively with your mentor by seeking input on your career goals and skills that you want to develop, for example, by using an individual development plan. This will serve as a vehicle for you to have regular structured meetings with your mentor to discuss your academic progress and your progress towards your career pathway. Now, in the next slide, we will talk a little bit about the peer mentoring program, which we have established. In peer mentoring, you transfer support, knowledge, and skills between peers. This enables you to collaborate with others and uplift one another. The skills and knowledge that you gain from a peer mentoring relationship will help you succeed in graduate school and beyond. So I would definitely say take advantage of this opportunity if you can. And then in the last slide, I highlight the workshops that we provide on mentoring down. Many of you are likely to act as a mentor to an undergraduate student in a research setting. And being a mentor provides you with the opportunity to develop skills that allow you to succeed in graduate school and that are highly transferable to a wide variety of career paths. They're also highly sought after by employers. And these competencies include leadership, management, communication, teaching, and organizational skills. In the next slide, I'm just saying, keep your eye out for opportunities from the Graduate College for these workshops and activities that we offer throughout the semester.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mariana. Appreciate you taking the time this afternoon. So we have a couple more things before we're gonna move on to the next section. One of the nuances of this is often when we have guests come in and talk, we aren't exactly sure what they're gonna talk about. I'm going to be really brief here because Dr. Whipple's already talked about the campus recreation center, and I'm not sure. Yeah, there we go. So these are some images of the resources that are available in the rec center. One thing that I think is really worth noting that a lot of people don't realize is beyond offering facilities like swimming and climbing and recreational facilities, weights, running areas, etc. The rec center also hosts fitness classes, intramural sports, where they'll connect people, maybe individuals who want to play on a team sport. They organize outdoor trips. They have some adventures that are rafting and backpacking that last as long as 7 days, some that are just short day trips on climbing, rafting, backpacking, skiing, kayaking, snowshoeing, the list goes on and on. So in addition to having resources available, they're also an organizational unit where they can help connect people that have similar interests to create an outdoor trip or a longer trip. They also have a rental center where you can rent if you don't have your own skis or your own camping gear or your own rafting gear. You can rent those for a nominal fee from the rec center. They have upwards of large resources as well, like a 9-person raft with paddles, kayaks, ways to help you get those to where you need to raft or kayak. So again, just an insight into the fantastic recreational resources that are available for those of you who are in online programs and located at Boise State. The second thing I want to draw attention to that we've all sort of referenced, but you haven't heard a lot yet about, is the University Health Services. And we have a video from Health Services, which we're going to play right now.
Taking care of your health is one of the best ways you can achieve your personal and academic goals. Boise State students and employees can receive healthcare from a provider dedicated to your health and success at Health Services. With our high-quality care, integrated team of providers, and convenient location, your health is our specialty, so you can focus on your success. Finding a trusted health professional can be overwhelming, but our team of experienced physicians, nurse practitioners, counselors, and wellness experts have unique insight into the common stressors or illnesses that can interfere with your goals. We take your privacy needs seriously, and our spacious waiting room allows for comfort and relaxation. Visiting providers in different locations is a hassle and leaves you responsible for coordinating your care. Our medical, counseling, and wellness providers work together and can seamlessly coordinate your healthcare needs from one location on campus. Life for students and employees can be busy and stressful. However, our location makes it easy for you to be seen quickly. We offer urgent care and crisis counseling to make sure you have access to services when you can't wait for a scheduled appointment. We have commonly prescribed medications in our on-site dispensary that can save you a trip to the pharmacy. And we offer free patient parking in front of our location. To be your best, you need a provider that specializes in your needs. As a Boise State student or employee, you have access to top-quality integrated care conveniently located on campus. We accept a variety of insurance plans and encourage you to contact your carrier to see if we're a network. Making an appointment is easy. Simply call 208-426-1459 to schedule. Visit our website, healthservices.boisestate.edu, to learn more about how we can empower your path to lifelong health. Remember, at Boise State Health Services, our specialty is you.
There was a quick, I'm going to jump in real quickly. There was a question in chat. Are we going to be able to view this again later? Yes, we're recording this and we will make it available. Also, for those of you who are able to stop by the Graduate College, we'll have packets of information if you'd like to pick those up with a lot of information about everything that we presented today. And as always, you can always contact us about any individual piece of information you'd like more information on. So I think at this point, I'm handing it over to Clay Hendricks. Clay.
Thanks, Scott. So as Scott said, my name is Clay Hendricks. I am the Senior Communications Coordinator for the Graduate College. And I'm going to be bringing you a little bit of information, but before we do that, we're going to have hopefully a little bit of fun. So we're going to do a little brief Boise State trivia, see how well you guys know the new campus you're at. You may know these, you may not. Some of these people who work here didn't even know, so don't feel too bad. If you do know the answer, go ahead and drop it in the chat, or if you just want to play along by yourself, just for fun, feel free. So some people don't know that Boise State was originally founded at St. Margaret's Hall, which was originally located in downtown Boise. So our first question is, what year did Boise State move to its current location south of the river? So you've got A, 1932, B, 1940, or C, 1967. So we'll Give you a second if you want to drop it in the chat. If not, all right. So the answer is 1940. So prior to, fun fact, prior to the university being here, this site was actually home to the Boise airport. And when they moved to their current location south of the freeway, Boise State moved to this current location, and we've been here ever since. So kudos to you if you got that one right. Next up, we got obviously the Student Union building is a fairly new facility. So what currently existing building originally served as the Student Union building? And you got your options there below: Communication and Media Arts, Liberal Arts, and the Riverfront Hall. And if you guessed A, give yourself a pat on the back. You got it right. The Communication and Media Arts building, located just down the walk from the current sub, is actually the original Student Union building, and we're grateful that it's now the sub and it's much larger, because the communication building is quite small. So our final question, another year question, a little bit more relevant here to the Graduate College. What year was the first doctoral degree for Boise State approved? Is it 1986, 1999, or 1992? And survey says it was 1992 that we approved our first doctoral degree. So if you were playing along and you got them right, kudos to you. You know Boise State. So a couple other things I wanted to talk about. Obviously, social media. It's one of the best ways to find out information that we got going on. We'll be sending you emails throughout your time here. So keep an eye out for those as well, as Scott said. But also make sure to follow us. If you break out your phone and scan that QR code, that'll take you to a quick link to all of our different pages: Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. They're all there. So if you want to do that, more than welcome to. In addition, like I said, they're all there if you just want to snap a picture. And then we've got some free stuff to give away, because who doesn't love free stuff? And even better when it's Boise State stuff. So I'm going to drop a link in the chat here for those of you who don't want to or can't scan a QR code. That is a link to a Google form. You can fill it out. It will remain open until 1 o'clock today. That is the deadline for our raffle. And then we will reach out to the 2 winners via email. So keep an eye out for your email. If you enter, you might just win some free Boise State stuff. So that's fun. And then the final thing I want to talk to you guys about is the resources. And Scott mentioned this briefly before. We have a ton of resources, and we've tried to make them as easy as possible. So again, I know I'm throwing a ton of QR codes at you. I'm sorry. QR code will take you to our website, and specifically a page that has printouts of all the PDFs that we have for all the different resources we have, as well as links to the sites for those resources, so you can dig a little bit deeper if you want to. As Scott said, we have some handouts available on campus in Riverfront 307, where the Graduate College offices are located. Feel free to come in and take advantage of those, because they're not just Boise State. They're all about Boise as a city, the trails, the green belt, local establishments, a ton of different information. So don't miss out on that, because there's a ton of things that, I mean, people who have lived in Boise for years might not know about, because you don't take advantage of it. So definitely take advantage of those things, and welcome to Boise State. And I will now, I believe, hand it back to Scott.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Clay. Very, very, very useful. So what we're going to do now, we're going to transition to our panel. And we are very fortunate to have 4 current graduate students, who actually represent 4 different colleges across campus, which is fantastic. We have 6 colleges that offer graduate programming, but 4 of them are with us today. I'm going to introduce each of them, their program, and their college. Once we get through this, I'm going to give them a little prompt. So we'll go through the list again, and we'll be introduced to them, and then we can start to ask some questions. A lot of you have submitted questions, so I'm going to work through those. But if you have other questions that arise, I'll do my best to get to them. If you want to put them in the chat, if we don't have a chance to get to them during this session, we will circle back with you and answer your question for you. I or somebody in the graduate college will be in touch. So please join me in welcoming Jalen Abbott, who's working on her doctoral degree in curriculum instruction. Miranda Keymichael, who's a technical comm student in the College of Arts and Sciences. Melanie Fillmore, who's working on her PhD in public policy and administration in the School of Public Service. And Timothy Farrow, who's a master's student in materials science and engineering in the College of Engineering. Students, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time today. Let's going down the list. Why don't you let us know a little bit about you, perhaps where home was before Boise, and once we have you introduced, I'll circle back with my first question. So Jalen, would you like to kick us off?
Everyone, my name is Jade. I am in the education or the curriculum and instruction program here at Boise State. Before my doctoral program, I was in the master's program in literacy at Boise State as well, and I'm originally from Marysville, Washington.
Excellent, welcome. Miranda.
Hello, my name is Miranda. I'm in the Department of English, Technical Communication. I'm in my last semester of my master's studies. I also received a Bachelor of Arts in English Literature from Boise State, and I'm from Boise, and I am currently in the process of applying to PhD programs.
Excellent, wonderful. Melanie.
Hi, everyone. I am a PhD student in School of Public Service. I have lived in Boise for about 15 years, but my home is, I'm from South Dakota, and my family is from Standing Rock Sioux tribe of North and South Dakota. And so that's where home was before.
Awesome, thank you so much. And Timothy.
Hi, everyone. My name is Tim. Like Scott said, I'm part of the College of Engineering, actually pursuing a PhD in material science and engineering. I know it said master's. Home before Boise was in Bend, Oregon. So yeah, that's me.
Wonderful, wonderful. So first question on our list. Often when we're meeting in person, when we do these orientation in person, we do an icebreaker at the table. And one of the things I like to start with, for those who are from Boise, I ask them, what's something that you absolutely couldn't live without, that's essential to your being here in Boise. And for those who are new to Boise, I ask, what's something that you need to find that you can't live without? So there's that icebreaker that tries to connect us. So I'm going to put you in the position of being a Boisean and responding to that. Is there something about your life in Boise that secret must have that you'd like to let those who are, at least those who are coming to Boise that aren't in fully online program? Is there something that you've discovered that you can't live without that they should know about? Anyone?
I'll go.
All right, thank you.
I actually lived in Salem, Oregon for about 3 years. And the one thing that I really, really missed, and I couldn't wait to come back to in the Boise area, was the foothills and the mountains. And not just, for recreational purposes, but even just looking out and seeing the mountains with snowfall or, whatever. So that's what I couldn't live without.
Excellent, thank you. Tim, Jade, Melanie, anything you can't live without that you want to let them know about, Jade?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Jade.
I actually live in Mountain Home, so I'm a little bit outside of Boise, but here I really enjoy, we're close to the sand dunes out at Bruno, which are really cool to go check out. And I just really love the small town feel here. I would come here just for that community and that small town.
Excellent. I know that I mentioned the rec center organizing trips earlier. I know that they have regular trips to the dunes, and they'll take one of the carpool cars, and you just sign up and they spend a day hiking around and exploring. So that's great. Tim?
Yeah, so to kind of add on to what Jade and Miranda kind of mentioned, the scenery in Boise is really diverse. So when I was in Bend, Oregon, there's tons of trees everywhere, like surrounding me. But if you wanted to get into the trees, you just drive like a few miles out of Boise, and just a whole change in scenery. Like there's sand dunes, right? So that's what I really enjoy about Boise. It's so diverse and anything that you'd want to do. There's a river like right next to the green belt, right? That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Thank you. Anything else, Melanie? You had a, yeah.
Yeah, I would say building and finding community meetings and community groups outside of the university, like having a sense of community and meeting up with an Indigenous community in Boise. There's quite a few large groups that meet regularly, and so getting connected to those.
Excellent, thank you. So let's bring it in a little bit closer to home. On campus, or no, I shouldn't say on campus, not physically on campus, a resource that's available to students at Boise State that they should be taking advantage of, that you've taken advantage of and has been valuable or essential for your studies. Any thoughts?
I'll do a shameless plug for the Graduate Student Success Center. I am a TA in the GSSC, but not only do I work there, I also take advantage of the services. Every single project that I do, I hand over to one of the other GAs, Jade in particular. So yeah, it's vital to your success. Even if you're a great writer, we can help you and find ways you could improve, find ways you can improve with your research. So yeah, hit us up.
And not just for your thesis or dissertation. This could be a class project. This could be a presentation you have to give. Yeah, so any writing that you're doing, any sort of assistance when it comes to presentation or that sort. Absolutely. Thank you, Miranda. Anybody else? What's a resource, a BSU resource that they should be taking advantage of? Melanie.
I love spending time in Student Equity Center because they have actual space for students to, they also have a prayer space and a meditation space. So I encourage folks to go take advantage of that. And I love the Gender Equity Center, which also has space for students to just go sit and you can work there. It's just very open, it's very relaxing. I always stop in to gender equity and student equity whenever I'm on campus.
And second floor in the Student Union building, correct? Yeah, both are in sort of in the center of the Student Union building on the second floor. Melanie, do you know that, do they have resources for remote students or students that are participating in online programs?
Yes, and you can find, especially Gender Equity Center has a lot of, they're currently getting staff, so they're a little understaffed right now, but I have found them to be incredibly helpful and resourceful on, especially for students who experience trauma or just need a supportive community to be or to communicate needs. Just safe space. I really enjoy it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Tim or Jade?
Mine is somewhat general, but I think the Albertsons Library, everyone in the library is very helpful. So if you need something scanned, just the chapter, or if you need help finding a specific resource or just a topic that you have and you need help finding where that might be or how to search for those different resources, they're very helpful.
Excellent. Yeah. So as a faculty member, I take advantage of interlibrary loan nonstop. And if they can't get the physical copy of the journal or the book for you, they actually have a system by which they'll scan it and electronic transmission. So you can get some pretty obscure things that from anywhere in the world through the library and on pretty quick order. And for some of the reserves, you can check them out for quite a period of time. I think if we get remote, if we actually get the physical copy coming from a different library, it's sort of limited in how long you can keep it, but tremendous resource to take advantage of as you're studying or as your intellectual pursuits take you. So Thank you, Jay. That's a great recommendation. Tim, any thoughts?
Yeah. So a resource has been pretty instrumental to my success, especially as a first generation student, is the the counseling services. I fully took advantage of that just because you guys are going to hear a lot of these terms, but imposter syndrome, burnout, we all go through it, and they're awesome. Not only is it individual counseling, but there's also group counseling if you're more comfortable in that type of scenario. But those two services are amazing here at Boise State that I would fully take advantage of.
Excellent, thank you. So I have a question from the audience. So if you could go back on the very first day that you started at Boise State and tell yourself something, what would you tell yourself? Not to put you on the spot, what's that advice you give yourself, knowing now you wish you had known then? Miranda.
I would say that everybody is scared. Everybody is afraid they're not going to measure up. And if you take the right steps, you're going to be just fine.
Thank you.
I would say to find an organizational system that works best for you. I know someone else already brought this up, but really finding how to organize your resources, how to organize your time, and really find something that works with your schedule and just try to stick with it.
Yeah, time management is really important, and I think you'll Wayne mentioned earlier some of those resources that are available through the Graduate Student Success Center for managing time, but I agree. Melanie or Tim, any advice you'd give your younger self?
Yeah, I had to think about this one a little bit because as an Indigenous scholar, there's so few other Indigenous scholars in research positions. And so one thing that I wish I had done sooner in being a researcher and even an early PhD student, even in my MA thesis work, something I wish I had done earlier was getting in contact with conference circuits and communicating with other scholars who are working in your field and scholars from similar culture communities that have similar work, because they can just help you build the body of work that you want to build off or be in conversation with. That came very late for me. And so, and your mentor should be open to building those bridges and helping you do that work. But I needed interdisciplinary bridge building, and I wish that I'd had the tools to do that sooner. And so, I don't know, I guess I would, now that I have all those tools, like I really try to help, especially undergrads, or, get into the idea of being open to that, right? And being connected to scholars on Twitter and on social media feeds, and podcasts are another great way. I follow several academic podcasts that continually push out content for interdisciplinary work. And I just have found so much solidarity and community through those groups.
Thanks, Melanie. You mentioned mentoring and advising, and I think we often fall into the trap where we think the mentor is my major advisor, and the advisor is somebody in the department who tells me what classes to take. But mentoring and advising takes a lot of different forms. I mean, you can have peer mentors. You can have a mentor from across campus, somebody you've met through a club or an organization, or in a different college or department entirely. And keeping your mind open to those other kinds of mentorship opportunities is, I think it's really important. And it's, our time here is sort of building our resume. It's building our portfolio of experiences and knowledge. And it's not just what you learn in the classroom, it's all these other connections. And we don't want to discount the value that a lot of those other connections can have now and moving into your future. A lot of the people I still talk to weren't part of my supervisory committee, but they were colleagues, that other students or people that I met while I was in my graduate program that had nothing to do with my graduate program. So thank you very much, Melanie. I think that's important. Tim, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, something I would add is something I wish I kind of knew was that work-life school balance isn't static. I'm pretty routine-based, so I do a lot of things like pretty strictly to my calendar. So I guess something I would just say is that be willing to be dynamic with it. Some weeks are going to be harder for like school. I know sometimes you're going to need more time for yourself. So definitely take advantage of those. I don't know, just realize that it's dynamic and not a static effort, and that we're all struggling with work-life balance. It's an ongoing thing. I'm 3 years in, I'm still struggling with it.
It's a great insight. Yeah, it's you're not alone. Your struggles are shared, and we're here to help. So thank you all. So another question from the audience, and this may tie into what Tim was just talking about with sort of planning and scheduling and those sorts of things. Do you have any underrated habits that have led to your success thus far? So are there things that you do, habitually that have you found to be really successful and helped with your overall success?
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in on this. I am fortunate to have a really wonderful relationship with the Associate Dean of the School of Public Service, Dr. Jen Schneider. And I got to be in a class with her where she got us into a habit of writing, like just free writing. And so every day I take a lot of time to journal write. And it's not just journal writing, it's also, I'm process what is important to me, not just like it is every day, but it's also like the intersection of like, how am I feeling about mentorship, about all of the stuff that, like, if something's really bothering me, if I have time to process it, just like handwriting or scribbling or being angry, like I do that every day because of that class, because of Jen Schneider. And it's something I still do every day. And what it does is it helps me prioritize, like, okay, here's like my brain is hyper fixating on something I'm stupidly angry about, but I need to get to a place where I can focus on my work. And so if I do that, it gives my brain the time to process, but also like getting into the things that I need to focus on. And I find if I take care of those needs first, it gives me my brain space to move into the intellectual space that I need to be in to do research, to do writing for my classwork, right? And so I think one of those, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's Morning Pages. I think that comes from another writing, Bird by Bird, and Lamott. It's one of my favorite books. But just being in a habit of like writing and personal inventory regularly.
Excellent. Yeah, Tim.
I feel like this is super underrated, but something a habit that I feel like needs to be said a lot is drinking water and actually eating lunch. I feel like we get really busy, like sitting at our desk, and we just forget to eat or we forget to drink water. I'm always have to remind everybody, like, hey, drink water, guys. Don't be dehydrated, because we're always like, I have a headache, but it's because we're dehydrated, right? We're chronically dehydrated. So drink water, eat food, don't forget to do the basic necessities.
It's true. And for those of us who are here in Boise, it's a desert. So even though there may be 2 feet of snow outside, it's still the high desert. So that's good advice. I still haven't acclimated, so it's not as relevant for those that are remote, but thank you. Jade or Miranda, any?
Yeah, I've made it a habit to make sure to meet with my supervisor at least weekly now that I'm, all my classwork's done. So this might be later on. I meet with her weekly, or just even, over texting or email or over Zoom. Just getting in that habit of always checking in and having that accountability piece has really gotten me this far. So I would say build that relationship early and make sure that you're in close communication.
I guess, oh, sorry, Jade, I hope you're done. I guess that my advice would be, and it's not just, relevant to the field of academia, but don't be afraid to ask questions. This applies not only in the classroom setting, but, you can go to your mentors, your instructors, and be just like, hey, I'm overwhelmed, how can I deal with this? I'm applying to PhD programs abroad, and I have been sending emails to questions to people, professors in all different departments. And, don't be worried about looking stupid. You're not going to look stupid. No question is stupid. And I have found amazing support and amazing help. So I guess in all realms, just don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions, because students, teachers, mentors, everyone is here to help you, and everybody wants you to succeed.
Excellent. Thank you all. So Miranda and Jade, you sort of, I think, led into my next question. So if we're talking about that main advisor, your major advisor, do you have any advice or recommendations on working with that person? What have you found has been more successful or less successful in working with a faculty member that likely has a lot of other responsibilities and things on their plate that are different than what yours are? Any thoughts there?
I would just say, kind of establish that relationship early in your academic career. And, your advisor or mentor is not a mind reader. You've got to speak up and tell them what you need. And, 99 to 100 times out of 100, they will bend, backwards to try and help you and get you what you need.
I do want to jump in on this to share. In Indigenous culture, it's very difficult to speak to elders or experts that are like above you in position, or in culture, it's not common for us to ask questions to mentors. So that has been a challenge. One of the ways that is important to recognize are mentors who give you really good feedback that really help you. So paying attention to cues, if culturally or your interactions look different, that's okay. There are ways that are signal senders, right? To if you're seeking for a mentor, right? And so for me, the only reason I have the relationship I do with my mentors, because he really gave me good feedback in a time and a place where I wasn't really like, and I've been at Boise State for a really long time, so I have a long relationship with my mentor, but he sent signals that he was willing to check in on my work, and that was what made it easier for me to go to him to ask questions. And so for some culture communities, that can be, those processes work a little different. And for me, one of the most important features of a mentorship is mentorship that's reciprocal, in the sense that your mentor has to also be willing to learn from you and to recognize your life experiences and your the way that you learn and grow as a person, right? And there are ways that you can read that in work and a mentorship relationship. And for me, that has been such a critical, important piece. And so for students who come from marginalized or minority communities where they might not, those relationships work differently, identifying that for yourself and making sure that you're getting what you need from those is important. For instance, I need really clear feedback on like writing, right? And so if you get vague feedback on something and you want better feedback, asking about specific parts of, or asking to meet, send an email and say, can we discuss X, Y, and Z, and like really point out specific parts. But what I'm saying is there are other ways that you can develop mentorship without just like, I struggle with when and I do agree that we have to self-advocate and take advantage and ask questions. There's a part of that. There's just no getting around that, but there are other culturally expansive ways to develop mentorship as well.
Thanks. Jade or Tim, any insights on working with your advisors?
Yeah, something that's worked for us, me and my mentor, is we are both very busy. So making sure that we actually schedule a recurring time to meet that works for both of us, so that we have it on the calendar and other things, don't come up during that time. So maybe once you get to that point, sit down and figure out a time, a 30-minute block each week that they can help you, whether it's feedback or meeting with them, and just having it on the calendar.
I have nothing more to add, but I guess what Jade said, recurring standing meetings help. And also it's how we establish our relationship when I first started the program. So having the open communication outlets, whether it be through text message, being really informal, or through emails, or through formal meetings as well. Just, yeah, would recommend you start that relationship in that way, where you want to have that mentorship.
Thanks, Tim. The students we have on this panel, you're all working on thesis, dissertation, a final project that's a monumental effort. We do have a lot of graduate students that are focused on, it may just be a capstone course, or it may be a portfolio that they're putting together at the end. And that in those cases, the mentoring can be quite different. And I'm not couching this as a question. I'm just opening this up to the larger audience, that relationship, that students that are in an intensive research or a thesis or dissertation type of program is different than the advising that you may get from a professional program, where there is an advisor who's specifically assigned to advise graduate students, or a career advisor if you're working on an MBA or a degree in social work. So it's, again, the type of advising that we see across campus is very, very different. So and I appreciate these insights. For those of you who are on the call or on the Zoom, who are in professional programs that are interested in discussing more about what that advisor relationship looks like, more than willing to chat with you about that, and to connect you perhaps with some other professional students that are in that same boat. So let's go to sort of one of our pre-scripted questions. And I think we've sort of alluded to it here in terms of a lot of the things we've talked about in terms of drinking water and seeing the foothills and scheduling your time. What's your best advice for maintaining a healthy work-life balance? What if you could give any advice? It's really difficult. A lot of us have families while we're working on our graduate programs. We've got competing demands that are prioritized in different ways. How do you all best balance that work-life interaction? Miranda?
I guess that I would say you have to realize that you can't do everything and be everything. And sometimes you're going to have to make choices and make decisions. And some days just, doing your best and, showing up is the best that you can do, and that's okay. For example, my daughter's getting ready to go to college. So right now I'm working, I'm going to school, and I also feel this, oh my God, she's leaving. I got to spend time with her. So some days I just have to say, you know what? It's okay if, I don't give 110% on this assignment. It's important to be there for my daughter, or, be there to show up for my work responsibilities. And that's okay. You got to do the best you can.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it, Miranda, because I also have kids, and just I often don't have a healthy respect for time, who in Indigenous culture, time is like a person. It's like somebody you fight with, and you have to, at some points, having really open and candid conversations with my kids, or even my schedule, because it does take time. You have to take time to do your work, right? And I openly ask my kids what they need and have a conversation about, like, I need to accomplish this, but like, what's something we can do together that will, where we can spend time together, right? And so, yeah, I think being real honest and open and about that.
One thing I would do, or I try to do, is to take one full day off every week. This isn't always manageable, but I would always try to make it so every Sunday I have time to hang with my family, rest, watch Netflix, hang out, and try not to think about, all of the responsibilities I have. And so Monday I come in fresh and can really be productive, rather than Sunday, I'm tired. I'm not really being as productive as I would be as just getting rest. So if you have a chance, take a day off here and there, and try to stick with that.
I mentioned this earlier, but I'm pretty routine based. I live by my Google Calendar. I pretty much schedule my whole life is on there. But I guess to add on to how I use that for my work-life balance, is I actually schedule in my hangouts as well. I'm pretty methodical about that. So I reach out to people. I'm like, oh, I want to hang out at this specific time. But I guess to kind of, I mentioned this before, want to be careful with that, because you want to be dynamic with it. Sometimes those hangouts fall through. So, or sometimes studying takes a little bit longer than expected. So being willing to move that time a little bit further on, or shifting it around. But yeah, the Google Calendar helps me organize my life, and I'm always checking it.
So I'm gonna follow up on that with you, Tim, but the rest of you can chime in as well. Have you found there things that you intentionally schedule every single day on your calendar? Or the question was about routine, and are there things that you're scheduling into you find that were really important that you're scheduling in?
Yeah, so for me, a non-negotiable is lunch, and then also working out after the work day. So I feel like it's a good transition between work and also going home and relaxing. So that's what I schedule in, like non-negotiable.
And it probably helps to have your office right next to the recreation center. Yes. Others?
I would say the same as Tim, with making sure you get exercise, making sure you're getting up, working out, running, whatever you do to get exercise. And then also trying to block in even 15 minutes of writing. Try to write or read, because to be able to write, we need to be reading the research. So spending at least 10 to 15 minutes a day writing, and obviously sometimes that will be more than that, but even just get in the habit of doing a little bit of that each day, except for the days you're taking off, to get that routine.
I don't necessarily schedule it on my Google Calendar per se, but if I am, no matter what, if my daughter is with me, I make sure to have time scheduled in the day for her. And, that was even the case when she was younger. It's not just because she's getting ready to go off to school, but family relationships, relationships with friends, things like that are just as important. You can't forget that you have a life outside of your studies and your work life. That's important too.
Yeah, I don't know that we necessarily schedule like every day, but something my family and I have a family Stardew Valley game that we play together, and we don't schedule it every day, but for the most part we do play together every day. So making time for our family Stardew Valley is a highlight.
That's great. That's great. So one of the questions that popped up in your time that you've been at Boise State, what's the biggest obstacle that you've encountered, and how did you overcome it?
Okay, so I guess the biggest obstacle for me is that, obviously I'm a non-traditional student, and I was outside of my discourse community for quite a few years. And what was really difficult for me is the fact that you don't go to school for, a decade or more. And when you come back as a non-traditional student, you learn very, very differently than you do as a traditionally aged student. So when I came back, it was not only was writing really daunting for me because I was out of practice and I wasn't used to, again, the discourse used within academia, but it also took me a lot longer to do things task-wise just because my brain had developed. So recognizing that, realizing that it's not a limitation and making adjustments for that and realizing that I could still be successful as a non-traditional student, it was just going to look differently than it did as a traditional student.
Thank you.
I thought about this a lot because I think one of the most difficult things to deal with and cope with is getting feedback that's awful in whatever it is you're writing, your coursework. And there are some parts of professors are humans too, and have their own lives and challenges that they're coping with. And sometimes feedback does not come across well. And sometimes it's just really difficult to deal with and cope with. And I encourage students to take a few minutes to be angry when it's really hard, but also take time to lean into it. And all of us have weaknesses in our academic skills that we're here to build. And sometimes the relationships with faculty are not going to be there in some classes. Just for humans, that's just how it is sometimes. But finding what you're leaning into those weaknesses and finding people who can help you improve, even in those classes that are not your strong points. And I forget, for one class, I had just a really difficult time, and the feedback did not feel like I understood it or it was very clear. And so I got into the habit of just, I also appreciated what Dr. Whipple said about just being visible, because I habitually pester people. And so what I would do is I would just stay after class. Every class period, I would rework outlines and then rework papers and go through it. I would just stay there and be visible until I figured it out. I don't know that that's necessary for all students, but like leaning into those times where you do get feedback that's really difficult, and finding a good practice of coping that will help you to learn from that experience rather than letting that experience detract from your whole PhD, right? And that's just I don't think we even trained faculty get rejected by peer-reviewed journals, and so this isn't just something that you have to, it is something you have to learn, and I don't think we do a good job talking about it, and I don't think we I I don't think we give enough grace or time for students or faculty to process. Like, there are just some times where the relationships are difficult, the material is difficult, it's a difficult context, people are tired, and sometimes feedback just does not come across the way it should, or is it's not often it's not communicated well. I don't know, any of us are great communicators sometimes, but being honest about that and leaning into those challenges and finding people who can help you embrace the weaknesses in a way that isn't just totally facilitating imposter syndrome. Because there is imposter syndrome, but there's also like practices that help us cope with this feedback and negative feedback loop, which, I'll be honest, prompts a lot of internal self-doubt and all of those things, right? It can be triggering. And so just finding a practice that you can lean into that.
Jade or Tim, any thoughts on that obstacle that you encountered that you were able to overcome?
I think this is probably an obstacle for most people, but the online space and moving from having those collaborative face-to-face relationships with my mentor in my dissertation committee, seeing them all the time, going into their office, I really miss that, and it's been an obstacle for me because I feel more isolated, and it's easy to feel less supported through that because you can't just go in and see them all the time. And so, like I've already said, making sure that you schedule those reoccurring meetings, reaching out, and not just kind of, isolating yourself through that online communication.
Thank you. Any thoughts on your obstacle, Tim?
Yeah, I think it was kind of already mentioned, but I guess a big failure that, as somebody conducting research, failure in your experiments, that's something I wasn't fully ready for. Like I had a plan coming in and I expected a certain result, but that doesn't always turn out the way you want it to. But there's awesome resources out there to kind of help you through it. Not only your mentors, but your colleagues. Everyone goes through it. So that kind of helps. Also rejections, as a doctoral student, you have to publish. So you send those papers in. Getting rejection sucks, but everyone gets it. And just having the right people to talk you with it, because again, it helps a lot.
Yeah, we're all at the faculty, staff, students, we're all familiar with having our work rejected or denied. My mentor, my advisor he was from Portugal, and he had a phrase for the wastebasket, and he called it his journal. And I can't tell you how many drafts I submitted that found their way into the wastebasket journal. So we're getting close to time here. I want to give you each a chance at the end. Any last bit of sage advice or insight or anything you'd like to say to our participants before we wrap up? And you don't have to have anything else. If there's anything you'd like to advise or give insight towards, now is your chance. Brenda.
I guess I would just say, and I'm reiterating this, but don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask questions, because ultimately, the more you can be more successful when you're willing to reach out and ask those things. Yeah, as I've said before, the faculty, everyone at Boise State wants you to be successful. So just ask. That's the best advice anybody's ever given me. Just ask.
Thank you very much.
I would like to add the importance of actually embracing these challenges, because at the end of it, you're going to go into so many things that you really don't want to do. But at the end, it's so rewarding to know that you've done all of these challenges and you've done something that a lot of people haven't done, or most people haven't done. So really embrace it and know that it's kind of going to suck, but you're going to grow from it in the end and be a better researcher or teacher or whatever you want to be at the end of this.
Excellent. Thank you. Melanie?
I think my last piece of advice, I always ask my faculty mentors or just people I'm interested in learning from, what their favorite music is and what their favorite books are that they're reading that they find interesting, or what is like influenced their scholarship. And I have found some of the most moving conversations about why faculty have done their work the way that they have and why that, what made them embrace that conversation, help me to develop the relationship I have with my own work. And that those are just some of the most rewarding conversations to have. And so asking what is it that your favorite people around you are reading and listening to.
Great, thank you. Yeah, Tim.
Yeah, so the last thing I would kind of add, you got all of you guys joined your respective grad programs for a reason. So don't forget that reason while you're going down this grad journey, just because you're gonna hit brick walls, you're gonna second guess why you're in the program and why you're doing what you're doing. But so I don't know, just definitely keep that why close by as you're going through this whole grad program.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I want to take a chance to thank you all for taking your time today to meet with us, to give your insights. Very, very, very appreciated. And for all the new students who are joining us, as Provost Buckwalter said, you are right where you belong. We're excited to help you start your journey and to see you succeed and to see the amazing things that you're going to do as you progress in your degree and finish and move out into your future careers. So some of you have submitted questions that are really pointed and sort of focused on your situation. We're gonna, for those that are relevant to an individual panel member, we'll pass those along and we'll reach back out if we have your contact information. But I've said it a million times today and everybody else has. If you still have questions, if you think of something that comes up between now and the time you finish at Boise State, we are here to help. And we are, like I said, we're very, very excited to see you succeed. The image on the screen right now is the staff and senior staff in the Graduate College. Again, from all stages of your process, we are here with you. So thank you again. Have an amazing start to your semester. We look forward to seeing you do great things. Have a wonderful afternoon, and we will be in touch. Take care.